Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Anton Semenov. On behalf of Mediacentrу Ukraina, I would like to welcome all the journalists covering our fight for freedom. Today we have a special event. We shall be presenting the results of a problem aimed to protect the journalists developed by the Ukrainian R&D Institute of Defense Technologies. This is a list of recommendations for the journalists in the areas of operations, and most importantly, a special personal protective equipment has been designed to protect the life and health of the journalists covering the war. I would like to invite Anton Semenov, the CEO of the Ukrainian R&D Institute of Defense Technologies. If you could please come forward and present your outputs to us. Good day, dear colleagues. I lead the Ukrainian R&D Institute of Defense Technologies. We are gathered in here in order to present the new concept for protecting the journalists in the times of them covering the hostilities. This concept has been developed so that we could protect the life and health of the journalists as they perform in their line of duty. I would like to introduce the personal protective gear. I would like to bring in Olga Guzhva, who is a program manager for the Ukrainian Voices project for the Institute of War and Peace Reporting. The Institute is a partner of the project, making sure that everything designed would be put to best use. Surely, the Institute is working closely with the Institute to develop their technical specifications, the recommendations, as we know firsthand the challenges that the journalists face in the front line, in the deoccupied territories. Security is of paramount importance, and we've seen the recommendations of the General Staff saying that the editorial office takes the ultimate responsibility for the journalists. So we have taken steps to protect the journalists who are doing a very important and very demanding job. This is a unique personal protective equipment as it is tuned and custom-made to the needs of the war correspondents. I would also like to bring in Maksymov, who is the technology director of the Ukrainian R&D Institute of Defense Technologies. Maksym, if you would also come forward, could you describe what we're seeing in here? So the whole personal protective equipment, apart from the vest, fits into this bag. This is duffel bag. All the items fit into the bag except the bulletproof vest. It can be worn as a backpack or just as a duffel bag. They can be marked press or with the name of the specific editorial office. So when we are equipping a team going to the front line, these bags are very convenient, ensuring the safety and the comfort of the journalists in the front line. We'll try to equip Olga with a microphone so that we could hear from her. Then, as for the large items, we have this backpack. It's a very voluminous backpack where journalists can pack items that they will need in their line of duty, that he would like to have with him. We had talked extensively to the war correspondents working in the front line, and everything has been designed for a good reason to address the need of the journalist. This was done at the request of the journalist. We have carefully examined the needs the journalists identified, and accordingly, we have designed the concept to match their needs. Every gadget, every tiny feature has been developed to address the need to make it comfortable, convenient, and safe. Now, let me discuss the bulletproof vest. The bulletproof vest will be supplied to the journalists in a bag, in a cover, again for the convenience of transportation. Olga is wearing the bulletproof vest. And that is also an important consideration as journalists travel extensively. They leave their frontline areas to go to the cities where they write their reports, and there needs to be a way to transport all the personal protective equipment, and this cover and this bag can be of great help there. Shall we have a closer look at the bulletproof vest, at the different elements of it? So this is the vest with extra neck protection. In the front, you can see an additional attachment that a journalist can put to use to put a lot of handy items. This can be used as an organizer. They can keep a tablet in there. They can have the recording equipment, the microphones, and it will be all nicely stored and protected. When we talk to the journalists, we cast them, and often they have a lot of things in their hands, and when an emergency happens and they have to act quickly, they don't have where to put these items. So this pouch is very convenient and helps effectively get rid of these items. This can be the charger, the a recording device, the microphone, anything else that the journalist might need. We have started with the tactical gear, but the key instrument that the journalist has, it is not a long gun or short gun, but the recording equipment that the journalists use to cover the events. There are other additional attachments, and they can be customized to the needs of the journalist crew, depending on their mission. They can be shared if need be, if a team of 3 is working, or if 2 people go out to prepare the report. But our key consideration was speed and convenience of use, and we wanted it to be as ergonomic as can be, so it doesn't overload the person to add their endurance, as the bulletproof vest is 4th to 5th class, so this is roughly 12 kilograms, and if we added more weight, even if they're convenient, even if they're comfortable, that would probably be not right. We wanted all the items to be as convenient and as efficient as they can be. Let's see what else you have. And let's say what's going to happen to all of this equipment. This is an additional bag for the photo and video cameras. That is very important. A piece of equipment. It's important that the journalists could have them within reach. And as Olga was saying earlier, he could have his hands free. That's one bag. And here's the other one. for a bigger camera if need be. Often it happens that the journalists end up under fire and they need to seek cover, they need to go prone on the ground. So we developed knee protection and elbow protectors. I would like to ask Maksymov to join us, who is the technology director of the Ukrainian R&D Institute of the Defense Technologies. What do we need to know about this personal protective equipment? The personal protective equipment was designed to protect the journalists and to enable the journalists to perform in the area of operations. We have an unprecedented war, and it is very likely that more hostilities will unfold in the future. So journalists will have a lot of work to cut out for them. So analyzing the trauma sustained by the journalists, unfortunately we have lost some journalists, we have lost a few foreign correspondents. So a set of rules was elaborated and the personal protective equipment was elaborated for the journalists. This is the gear that will enable them to perform their mission and stay protected. Key protection is given in the shoulder area as the journalists are doing photographic and video coverage, and we are protecting the upper body from the fragmentation, same as along the entire core of the body. There's additional pouch for the recording equipment. There are camera bags on the sides. The tactical personal protective equipment works in a similar fashion. The camera bag can be attached directly over the shoulder, or it can be mounted on a tactical vest, because often the load on the spine is excessive, resulting in fatigue and injury. This is a body bag that can be easily opened with any free and available hand, and this helps to pull out the strap. The strap usually goes over the head, and then the camera is easily reached. So there's no way of losing or slipping the camera, because it's an expensive piece of equipment, and moreover, should the camera be damaged, the journalist will not be able to perform his mission. And again, the camera is removed in the reverse order. We have two sizes for the cameras. Let me now discuss the individual first aid kit. This is a standard IFAC kit, NATO standard compliant. It's presented low to enable convenience in a vehicle, and it is placed in a standard position so that it is easily found by the military who may need to provide a first aid kit. There is a foldable bag for the thermal flask or a water bag. There are more attachments that people can use to keep power banks, some additional items, and the headsets to protect the hearing, and also they're integrated into the communication systems. There's another holder for the torch, and it can help light the documents or the tablets. Let us now discuss how this equipment will be put to use. Can I ask Anton how and why you decided to take up this mission. Is it a top priority? Why have you decided to design the personal protective equipment for the journalists? We decided to implement the project at the request of the journalists who are covering the developments in the front line, who are exposing themselves to danger in the area of hostilities, who needed protection. Usually, the journalist would have a bulletproof vest and a helmet. And this is all that they have. Some might have IFAC kits, but often the way they are equipped, they may not meet their needs should an emergency happen. We have discussed these questions extensively with the journalists. We analyzed the pressure points that they have, and we have drawn on the experience that we have in developing the personal protective equipment. So eventually we came out with a concept that was a custom-made solution for the journalists. We have a disproportionate number of losses amongst the journalists. There are a number of explanations for this. The deliberate targeting of the journalists by the Russian servicemen, but also the lack of readiness of the Ukrainian journalists to operate in the areas of operations. How important is it a consideration for you? Exactly, if we look at the numbers, we have 34 journalists that we have lost, including foreign journalists and Ukrainian journalists. There are many more who've been injured. And the issue of security for the journalists has been of paramount importance, and the personal protective equipment is what the journalists needed. Earlier, the journalists at best could have the bulletproof vest and a helmet, but we need to take a comprehensive security approach and make sure we cover all the details. So if some mistakes can happen in the rear, but in the front, the seconds might mean a life. If we're uncomfortable, if we don't know how to handle a camera, and you have seen that with these bags, we can easily remove and place a camera in a matter of seconds. We are also now conducting a series of security trainings for the journalists about the tactical care and about the security mindset, saying that we can disregard some details in the office, but not in the front line. And finally, I would like to pose a question to all three of you. What is going to happen with the equipment? How can the journalists get hold of this personal protective equipment? And how do you make sure it is delivered to the front line? I would like to start answering the question. This set is being finalized, but the first important sets have been taken. We're going to test them, we're going to present them, and we're going to offer it to the journalists. We're going to offer the equipment and a comprehensive set of trainings to teach the journalist crews to use the equipment. Let me add that we have developed the concept, and being able to incorporate all the needs and recommendations of the journalists. Still, we are very open to the journalists' feedback, as we know that these recommendations can help us make this PPE set even better. We are preparing a version 2.0 for sure. We know what we would like to add to make it even better, to make it even more ergonomic, so that people are safe in it and are very convenient in it. And a very important consideration I would like to add, the way it's been designed, the journalist working in the area of operations would be visible so that he would not be a legitimate military target for the enemy. So I would like to thank our panelists Anton Semenov and Maksymov from the Ukrainian R&D Institute of Defense Technologies and Olga Guzhva, the program manager for the Institute for War and Peace Reporting. We looked at the personal protective equipment for the journalists covering the war. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for